Hey guys, I'm Cartoon1989 and welcome to the show that improves the great and fixes the lousy. Today we're going to be looking at the game which inspired this series. So, Sonic Adventure, you can do better, and here's how. My god, was that a cheesy opening. But anyway, before we begin, I need to get some stuff out of the way. First, these are my thoughts. If you feel like I missed something, then be sure to leave it in the comments. If you make a good point, I may discuss it in the next episode. If people want me to make another episode, that is. Second, these are not in any real order. They're just in the order that I came up with them, or feel it's the easiest to discuss in. I'll try to get some bigger ones out of the way first, but don't think because I put an extra boss fight before fixing a major issue that I think the new boss is more important. Third, this is all in good fun. Obviously the chance that any of these will actually happen are slim to none. So try to think of these as dream definitive versions of games we either love or currently hate. And four, you hear a loud hum, that's my computer, because I have to literally do this on top of it. I don't have a lot of space. Now for some small ground rules. I can't completely change the game. It still needs to be the same story and gameplay. I just need to improve or refine it, such as fixing plot holes or adding an extra fight, for example. These have to be games I've got a good grasp of. For example, I will never do a God of War episode, simply because I don't like that series. So I don't have an idea of how I could improve it fairly. Maybe if I was able to get in touch with someone who was interested, then yeah, like one of the other members of Tucker Blaze. But for now, yeah, I'm not going to be doing any of that. So with the rules explained, let's finally talk about the game. Sonic Adventure. A game that people seem to generally believe is inferior to its dark sequel SA2. Oh yeah, really? And to all the people who think that, I have just two words for you. Mad space. Enjoy your superb gravity gameplay. I kid, kinda. But yeah, I do have a much bigger love for this game than its sequel. But that doesn't mean I'm not blind to all of its problems, and believe me, SA1 has a lot of problems. So let's start talking about what could be improved. Now for the sake of this video, I'll be showing the quote-unquote HD release of the game, as it's the most recent release, so was the best opportunity Sega had to fix the problems. Number 1. Better graphics and a remastered soundtrack. While I have a soft spot for the game's current graphics, I and most people will say that in that field, Sonic Unleashed has yet to be truly beaten. So I would love to see SA1 with that level of detail. Just for an example, imagine this looking more like this. The soundtrack is still to this day my favourite soundtrack of all time. But if the game's graphics are to be overhauled, so should the music. I actually believe that Lost World's music, no, not that one, this one, would benefit the most, but it would be interesting to see if Jun can improve on what I still think is his best work. Oh, and I think this goes without saying, but for God's sake put it in widescreen, Sega. Number 2, an improved camera. A lot of people have issues with the camera in both adventure games. I honestly never have, or at least I somehow never noticed. However, I have seen enough videos to see what people are talking about. The biggest culprit seems to be the stone snake in Lost World. My idea for fixing this would be to lock the camera in the center of the room and have it play out like a 2D section. The stone snake itself wouldn't appear until the first button is pressed, which would then cause Sonic to automatically jump onto it and ride it to the next area, where he would then jump off before returning control to the player. Meaning you'd never have to worry about making an awkward jump or have the camera struggle while you're riding it. Then maybe after pressing the third button, the snake becomes a bridge leading to the door. That's just how I would do it. Number 3, more abilities. I love the power-ups in SA1. I just think we could have more of them. For Sonic, I think the bounce bracelet would be a cool addition, which if given to the player early enough would be a great way to help new players to reach higher platforms if they struggle with the more difficult jumps. Though in all honesty, I do know that Sonic Adventure doesn't really have that many difficult jumps. While not new, I would like to have the Lightspeed dash be instantaneous, like in the other games it's been in, rather than requiring you to charge it up. This is something only the Lightspeed attack should force you to do. This means that the Crystal Ring could be switched for the bounce bracelets, as it would no longer be needed. For Tails, I could see a small rocket boost item being useful. If you're flying but are just a little too short of landing where you need to, you could use the rocket boost to go up into the air a little, but would only be able to activate it when Tails is tired. For Knuckles, I'd like to see his sunglasses return, but be used in a slightly different way. Instead of revealing invisible areas and items, they instead place markers on the ground letting you know to dig there for an item or rings. Speaking of digging, I'd love to see his dive attack that he had in SA2 be here as some sort of ability item, as for stages like Red Mountain, that could be useful. Amy has a simple one. A boost button. I'll admit one of my favourite things to do in the GameCube release was to use my action replay to add things like a moon jump and a speed up button. For Amy, this became a great help. If it were to be added, it would have to be something that needed to charge up either after enough time has passed or with rings, and would only last a few seconds if all used at once, but would help Amy reach her top speeds almost instantly at the cost of turning. Another upgrade would be changing the spin hammer attack, which I think is the most useful move in the whole game. Can't think of a single person who's actually used it, so that it acts more like Link's super spin move in Wind Waker, as in Amy spins around the area instead of staying still. The long hammer should also actually live up to its name by doubling Amy's attack range for all her moves. Big, I feel, only needs one. A fisherman's hat that tells us how big all the fish are when we cast the lure. This should make higher ranked missions much more tolerable. And finally Gamma. I don't think he needs anything. Number 4. Fixed controls. Now this is more aimed at the mapping of moves on the controller rather than the controls themselves. With the adventure games, Sega had a habit to have every move mapped to just 2 buttons, which obviously meant that characters would sometimes do the wrong move when you needed it most. SA2 was way more guilty of this, but still not as guilty as a certain other game. So I'm just going to go through each character and sort out what button should do what. For ease, I'll be using the PlayStation controller, as well. A lot of other companies like moving the buttons around, so you get the best idea with this. Never change this controller design. Sonic. X equals jump. X in mid jump equals homing attack. Circle is the spin dash. Circle in mid jump is the bounce attack. Square, the light speed dash. Holding square, the light speed attack. Triangle, pick up and put down. Triangle while moving or jumping is throw. Tails. X is jump. X in mid jump is fly. Circle at any point on the ground is the tail attack. Circle, holding circle down while at any point on the ground is the continuous tail attack. Circle while flying is the rocket boost. Square while moving is spin. Triangle options the same as Sonic. Knuckles. X is jump, X in mid jump is glide. Circle is punch, holding circle is the maximum heat Knuckles attack, which is still the stupidest but most awesome name ever. Circle in mid jump, the dive attack. Square is dig, so no longer 2 buttons. Holding square is to lower and raise the sunglasses. Again, triangle options the same as Sonic. Aiming. X is jump, X in mid jump is a double jump. Circle is the hammer. Circle while moving at top speed is the hammer jump. Circle in mid jump is the hammer spin. Square is the spin hammer attack. Square while moving is boost. And again, triangle options the same as Sonic. Big. X is jump. X in mid jump is the belly flop. X while on water's surface is jump. Circle is to cast lure. Square on land is the rod attack. Square on water is sink. Same deal with triangle, in that it's the same as Sonic. Gamma. X jump, X in mid jump is glide. Circle equals shoot. Square equals mode change. Say it with me. Triangle options the same as Sonic. Well, number 5. New voice track. Before any Sonic fans try to burn my house down, watch the rest of this video first. Even while saying that, let's face it guys, the voice work in Adventure is far from the best. Get the correct casting to redo it all. Just make sure to find a similar voice for Gamma. Don't just give him Omega's voice and God forbid the Sonic X voice. Number 6. Extra characters. In the DX release of the game, collecting emblems unlocked Game Gear games. they were removed from the HD release, and I think I can safely say no one cared. However, this means that collecting emblems just gives you an achievement or trophy, which honestly to me isn't a decent incentive. Granted, yeah, there's also Metal Sonic, which does kind of lead into this. My idea is to add basically character skins after collecting enough emblems. After getting 1/6 of all emblems, you get a Shadow skin for Sonic. 2/6 is a Vector skin for Big. Yes, imagine that. 3/6 is a Charmy skin for Tails. 4/6 is a Cream skin for Amy. 5/6 is the return of Mighty as a replacement for Knuckles. Or would you rather it be Rouge? And getting all emblems unlocks an original design for Gamma, which makes him look like an angel since, spoilers, he dies at the end of his story. Number 7. A new adventure field area. I fully admit this is just to sort out a small nitpick I have. Which is, how the hell do those cars get there in Tails' final boss? For those unaware, this boss takes place in an area where the only way anyone could get into it is by either walking through the hotel or the train station. Which leads me to believe that people were driving their cars through these buildings. If this is true, then it would explain why no one would seem to care or be hurt by perfect chaos. People of Station Square are apparently used to attempts on their lives and can move as fast as Sonic to avoid it. Anyway, to fix this mystery cars problem, I've thought of a new area which connects the town hall area to Casino Street, which is simply a Fountain Plaza. It could make a good place to rework Amy's opening so that it doesn't seem as if Zero is getting confused by the idea of a door. It could also be where players get a bunch of new content, or hell, it could be the setting of the Egg Walker boss fights so that it can actually wander around a bit rather than just going back and forth. Number 8. Combined levels. This is a bit of a big one. The game separates levels into 3 or 4 areas, an example being Windy Valley. With Sonic, you begin in the Windy Hill, then get pulled into the Tornado, before ending the level in the air. Granted, each of these are separated by a short loading screen, but imagine if they were all just one smooth level. I've seen videos of people who have done such a thing with a way less worthy Sonic game. Never forget. Never forget. So why not Sonic Adventure? Plus it would make the next item an actual possibility. Number 9. Multiplayer. Now in the actual game, you can have a second player join in as Tails during Sonic's levels, but it's not exactly proper multiplayer. To me, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is still the best multiplayer the series has ever had. So why not do that with SA1's levels? Player 1 has control of default characters, while Player 2 has a team consisting of Shadow, Chow, Rouge, Cream, Vector, and Egg Robo. Come on, Gamma vs Egg Robo. Who wouldn't want to see that? And just be thankful I said a Chow rather than Tails doll. Number 10. New levels. Remember when I said that the Fountain Plaza could be where you unlock new content? Well, this is what I thought would be the most interesting. While a few new levels not connected to the story would be cool, I was mainly looking more at making it a way to allow other characters to play levels they originally couldn't. Such as Knuckles and Amy getting their own versions of Emerald Coast. So you no longer have to use the Burger Man to get past the barrier. Yes, that is an actual thing.